live.
Hello, Facebook. Let me see here.
Yep, we're live.
I see live. Hello, Facebook. Hello. Client Attraction Evolution. Let me turn the volume down on this stupid phone so I don't have to hear my horrible voice. Now, we're going to let this go just a little bit, let people file in. Give me the hashtag live or the hashtag replay to let me know when you're on. Hopefully you're on live, because if you're missing this, shame on you. You're a bad person. If you're watching this on the replay, at least you caught it at some point, okay? I'll forgive you. But you need to watch this live, because we have on here today Miss Jenna Larson. She's a beast. She's an amazing business consultant. She knows it all about Facebook organic. If you're a coach, you're a consultant, you're creating a course, and you're not watching this live, and you have all these questions stewing around your head, again, shame on you, because she's the woman that's going to answer your questions and help you get to the next level. I'm the infamous Joel. You guys know me. And this is Miss Jenna Larson. I'm going to let her take a little bit of the floor and let her introduce herself and let you know where she's coming from. Go ahead, Jenna.
Yes. So hi, you guys. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Jenna Larson, and I'm the founder and coach at Drive Performance Coaching. And what I really like to do with my clients is take what's in their brain, right? Their ideas, their thoughts, their concepts, and get them out of their brain into either a course or a program or a repeatable process that they can teach other people to do and implement and get massive results. One of the things that I see so often as I'm working with people who are creating their courses or their coaching programs is that, number one, they don't actually know what they offer, right? So if you were to say, like, within 2 seconds, like, well, what is the package I'm buying, right? And what do I get? And what are the results? A lot of times people struggle with how to articulate that. And then a lot of times the other thing I see is that, when we're in our zone of genius, right, which is what we're typically coaching on, because it's so obvious to us and it's so simple to us, when we show up and we try to teach other people to do that thing, we forget to speak to them in like first grade level. And so as we're taking people through our courses or our programs or whatever it is that we're selling to them, they're not necessarily getting the results that we're getting when we do those same things, right? And so that's kind of what I help people do, is to get the genius out of the brain, right? And put it into a system that other people can then get results doing as well. So I'm super excited to be here. Again, if you guys are catching this live, I'd love to know, where you're coming from and actually what type of, business you're doing. Are you a course creator? Are you in the process of creating a course? Are you a coach? Like, what is it that you're doing, so that way we can make sure that we are gearing this coaching session and this little interview to make sure that we're answering your specific questions. So again, if you guys are live, let us know. And if you're catching the replay, I'll also come back and answer questions. So feel free to comment any questions, concerns, thoughts, and I will get back to you as well.
I have a question. I wonder where the hell everybody is, because I had 17 people that said they were showing up. And again, if you're watching this on the replay, shame on you for saying you're showing up and you are still not here. Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I was supposed to do something with the event. I have no idea, to let everybody know what's happening.
It's all good.
With this tech stuff, everybody who's been in this group for a little while, the infamous Joel and tech, mortal enemies. We don't get along. So,
it's all good.
So for some reason, I'm thinking people didn't get the notification, but it is what it is. So,
okay.
So this will be available in the replay at all times in the unit section, like you guys know with the interview stuff. Unfortunately, the reason I wanted everybody to show up live is because this is a great opportunity for you to have questions for Miss Larson. And if you're not here live, it's kind of impossible to give questions to a robot or a ghost.
It's all good. I will come back. So if there's anybody who has questions about kind of how the heck do I even start, or how do I go, or, if there's certain things that are really, getting you stuck in that process, feel free to drop them and I can come back and answer some questions.
Well, here's what I'll do. I'll ask some common questions that I hear all the time from my audience, and hopefully I'll be able to cover some of the blanket questions I hear all the time. So number one, a lot of them are either creating courses right now as we speak, or they're thinking of creating a course. So what is the number one piece of advice you would give to somebody in that position who's creating a course?
Yes. So one of the best pieces of advice I ever got was from my business coach. And it was when I first was starting my business. And so just to give you a little bit of my background, I started in corporate, and one day I woke up and said to my husband, oh crap, I'm quitting my full-time job and I'm going to start my own business. And he was like, the heck are you going to do? And I said, I just want to tell people what to do. I want to be the boss of everyone. And so I'm going to just start a coaching program where I tell people what to do. And he looked at me like I was crazy. And then he was like, all right, sweet. Right. And so I literally, as I started my coaching program, did not have a single idea of what I was going to be doing. I just knew I wanted to do something. And so, as well as legit like saying I'm quitting my entire job and I'll have no income, I also hired a business coach that cost twice my mortgage before I made a dollar. Yep. But I knew if I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it right and I'm going to quit my job to make it happen, I'm going to do it right the first time. I'm not going to screw this up. And best decision I ever made. So one of the things that she really worked with me on as I was beginning this process and this program was to not just assume that I knew what people needed and then to go out and make a course on it, right? So if you just kind of like have an idea and you think, well, oh, I should just do this, and then you think people are going to buy, you're going to be really frustrated when you get crickets, right? And so the number one thing that she had me do was to say, well, figure out what the actual problem is and then solve it through your course or coaching program, right? So what I ended up doing was I started with private coaching. I literally got in contact with two people who I thought, actually I didn't know them. I was referred to them and just said like, I coach people on getting shit done. Like that's literally what I said. And they hired me. I don't know why they said yes, but they did. And what was so great was that as I was coaching them, the same things were coming up over and over, the same problem. And so for me specifically, with the clients that I was working with, the issue was, as I'm teaching them how to create their system that's repeatable and how to serve their customers and make sure that they continue to buy, they, as I was asking, well, where are you tracking all this information about the people you're serving? Their faces went blank, right? They're like, well, I use a CRM or I pay for this really expensive follow-up system, but I never use it, right? Or I'm super overwhelmed with the tech or whatever, right? And so because there was this same theme over and over, I was like, wait a minute, that's my course, right? So private coaching opened up the door to show me what was the thing that people are saying over and over and over, turn that into the course, right? So I can solve that problem. So eventually I created an entire coaching program around teaching a follow-up system. And what's crazy about it is I actually started teaching on someone else's system, so I did not have to build it or anything. The system I the system I taught on was free, and I was able to create a 6-figure coaching program on a free solution.
Nice.
Right? But because I was so clear about not just going where I thought there might be some money for me, because I really intentionally decided to understand like, what is the actual problem? How can I solve it? When I released the program, it sold like crazy, right? And still does. And so I would say that's like my biggest thing. Don't just go spend your time making a program. The other thing I would say is don't build your program before you sell it, which might sound crazy. And I don't know if you kind of teach the same thing, but like, why are we going to spend hours and hours and weeks and months building this perfectly beautiful coaching program or course or whatever, if we don't actually know if it's going to sell or if it doesn't actually solve the problems that those people have, right? Because if we do that, we're literally wasting our time. And I'll tell you, the first course I ever launched, it was a coaching program, and it was a 6-week coaching program. And I actually packed it with so much information because I felt like I had to overserve and over deliver, that I like literally overwhelmed every single person in my group, had to throw out the entire program and start over, right? And so it's just such a good reminder that like, if you build it as you're going through with your clients, they will tell you where to go. You don't need to be the expert. You just need to be the person that puts the information in an actionable, orderly system that they can replicate, right? So again, I think the 2 biggest tips are ask your people what they need before you build it, and then sell it to them before you build it, right? So I know that's very scary for a lot of people, right? But I'm telling you, if you start with the idea and say, this is what I'm going to coach you on, this is the result you're going to get, and then you go sell it, you'll know if you're on the right track or not. right? Versus spending all that time and money. And remember, right? If you figure out what your hourly wage is, think about that. If you're going to spend, 40 hours building a course, but you make $40 an hour, like how much money did that just cost you to do? Right? It's better to just see, like, does this make sense? Is there something that's going to, be sold off of this before I waste my time?
Now I want
Right?
to ask you this. Thank you for that, by the way. I want to ask you this to clarify and make sure while you're here, and I see the reason I bring this up. Some of my own coaching staff is here. I see Christy, I see Ryan. I think I saw Darren earlier, and even some people that I communicate with in the group all the time. And did we have this conversation before? Did me and you speak about this before we went live?
No.
This came from you, right? This is
Yes.
100% Jenna Larson, no input from the infamous Joelle whatsoever.
Right.
I wanted to make sure that because I say this all the time.
That's great. I love it.
Or I'm not believed, or I'm just an a-hole, or whatever. Everyone keeps spinning around in circles, and they come back to me again and again. And they're like, well, I don't know what to. I'm like, go out there, prospect, get in the mud, speak, have conversations. The only way you're going to figure out what your perfect offer is by asking. That's the only way. So
Yeah.
Coming and asking me, I don't know. Like, ask your audience, ask your potential customers or your actual customers, your clients.
Yeah.
Ask them, what do they need? They'll tell you. They're paying, So
100%. One of the things that I recommend my clients do is, if you really are clear on who your ideal client is, I would then go ask those people, hey, would you mind getting on a call with me so I can pick your brain, right? People only buy for two reasons: to avoid pain or to get pleasure. And our job in sales, if we're selling our course or our program, is to make sure that we're articulating how that product or service solves that pain or helps them accomplish that goal. And so if you don't even know what problem you're solving, how are you going to be able to articulate that so that they actually buy it, right? It's just not going to happen. And so one of the things that I did when I started out my business was I offered complimentary coaching calls and just said, hey, I am looking for a couple people who want to hop on a call with me. I'm going to walk you through, XYZ. In return, I just love to pick your brain about like what is hard in what you're trying to accomplish. They gave me so much value, right? That it was well worth that hour of my time for free, because I walked away being like, oh, shizzle, this is the problem I'm serving. And then that created its own program, right? Same thing, right? So for those of you guys who don't know, right, I started out by teaching on this other system that I mentioned earlier. But as I started coaching, all these clients, I started to realize, well, here's another problem, which is that we've got these Facebook groups and that, we have so many potential clients sitting there, but we're so disorganized or it's so all over the place that we're not really monetizing it. And so again, a problem was in front of me. And this time I was like, well, shoot, let's make this other solution, right? But and like I said, with that solution just launching recently, it's been crazy. But that only happens when you're actually filling a need, right? If you just go out and try to build these things that no one gives a crap about, that's why you're not selling it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So again,
don't happen in a vacuum. And
yeah,
you're talking about Group Track, right?
yes.
Yeah, and we've been using it. My team and I have been using it. It's fantastic. We left one piece of software to go to Group Track because it was so much better.
Oh,
So
cool.
I wanted to do that quick plug. It's great. So if you guys are running a group and like she said, you're disorganized and you're having trouble keeping track of leads and people in your group and interactions, the best by far. It's so much better. I can just compartmentalize all my activities and not have to worry about it. And that's a huge stress relief because before, what I was doing was using Google Sheets. I was using a spreadsheet and typing in every little thing manually. What did people say? What happened on this date? And I wanted to jump off a bridge. So
yeah, it's crazy. Well, and that's the thing, right? If you are, there's really two pieces about running the business, right? Number one, you have to have a program that gets people results, right? Like that's number one. But number two is being able to market it appropriately. And one of the best ways to do that is to create a community where people are your ideal client. So, when you're first starting out, you've got to go where your ideal client spends their time and money, right? And that most likely, especially in COVID world, is going to be in Facebook groups, so that you're in those group prospecting, providing value, doing those things consistently, making those connections. Then you can get them into your group where then you show up as the expert, right? And sell them whatever coaching, platform or whatever you're selling. But again, you have to have those two pieces and they have to work together. I've seen a lot of people who are really good at marketing and, really good at selling their program. But the problem is their program sucks. And when people go through it, they're not getting the results. And so, when I started my first business, and in fact, still honestly with my Drive Performance coaching business, I don't sell any marketing. I don't do anything. I don't pay for ads. I don't pay for anything. And the reason is because when people go through my program, the results speak for themselves. They go share it with the world, and I don't have to pay anybody for that, right? It's free word of mouth. And to be honest, word of mouth is going to sell so much faster than any Facebook ad or anything that I could provide them, right? But so if you've got this program that really gets people results, it's going to sell itself. But then step 2 is to add the marketing piece to it, right? So, but you can't have one without the other. If you've got a great program and you're not selling it appropriately, it's dead. If you're marketing something, but it sucks, also dead. So it's really important that you have those two key pieces together. And I think all of that comes from understanding your ideal client, their pains, fears, frustrations, their goals, wishes, wants, and desires, and then being able to articulate how your program or your coaching program solves those problems or helps them accomplish their goals. And if you can do that on rinse and repeat without thinking, then you're really in business, right? Because then your business is going to grow and scale without that much blood, sweat, and tears.
So true. I wanted to bring this up real quick because this is another concern for a lot of people in my audience. This comes up a lot, and I think you're the perfect person to articulate this better than I can. I know when we first met, it was so funny because, and I'm looking at your profile right now. I'm going to read off some of this because it's so funny. Like, all right, so Group Track CRM. That works at Group Track CRM. Founder and coach of Drive Performance Coaching. Community relations at University of Phoenix. Former rowing coach at Orange Coast College, tongue twister. Cypress Police Department. Studied criminal justice at San Diego State. So basically, you're a Renaissance woman. You've done like everything in life possible. And what was funny about that is our first conversation, you're like, okay, you're a cop, I'm a criminal. Like,
Good.
two sides of the fence, but we hit it off. We're like, okay, we're both silly and stupid.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up this whole myth that if you're a coach, course creator, consultant, and you're getting into that, a lot of the disbelief in self, like the false belief, comes from, well, I'm not an expert yet. Everyone looks up to somebody else as I'm not good enough. I'm not an expert. I'm not at that level. So
good. Oh, best question ever. Yes. So funny story, right? I think I kind of mentioned it earlier. The first person who hired me, I remember thinking, why did they say yes to me? I had never coached anybody in network marketing, which is kind of where I started. Literally, first of all, I've never been in network marketing myself. I have never coached anyone in network marketing, yet I just created a 6-figure business coaching network marketers. So if you don't think you can do it without being an expert, you are wrong, right? And so really what you have to decide is like, what is your zone of genius? And typically what that means is that you can do something that you feel silly charging someone else for. There are times where I've literally done like a private coaching session with someone and walked through creating a to-do list or something. And I remember getting off the phone being like, oh my God, I can't believe they paid me. They're going to think I'm awful. I can't believe we spent that time doing that thing. And then got a message later saying that was the best money I ever spent. Right? So remember, when it's your zone of genius, it's easy, it's simple, and it comes naturally. And you may not even be able to articulate what it is that you're doing, right? But the other person needs what you have. And so you can't discount that you are naturally really good at something, right? So none of my prior training, none of my education, none of anything I did prepared me for what I do now, right? But I stepped into what my zone of genius was. And that's really what I love to do with people, is to figure that out, right? And to unpack it, because so many times what we see is these people who just kind of blow up in their business and they they shoot up as these experts, and you think like, oh, they must have all this coaching, they must have all this training, they must have all, no, they were able to take what's in their brain and get it into a system that other people can duplicate and replicate and then get action and get results, right? And so that's really the key. It's a system. It's not being a genius. And I see a lot of that with my clients, right? Who are just afraid, like, wait, can I even teach that? Am I even an expert? And I just always ask them, like, well, what would you tell me if I asked you this thing? Could you tell me? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, great. Then now go tell people that. You know what I mean? So no, you do not need to be an expert. I think as a coach, your main job is to elicit the performance that you want, right? And so, really one of the things that I think is most important is coaching to behaviors, not results. That's like a very big thing that I really do in my practice. Because if you coach to results, people will never quite get there and they don't understand why, and that's really frustrating. But if you coach them to do the things that bring the results over and over, then that's going to really, really be helpful. So I think to just kind of summarize, no, you do not need to be an expert. Yes, you need to know something, right? You can't just sell them crap, because if you do that, then your, return clients will be non-existent. And again, in my opinion, your best customers will provide most of your revenue. So funny enough, those 2 clients I was telling you about that hired me first out the gate, that again, I was like, why on earth did they hire me? Currently still private coach with me.
Wow.
At like 4 times the price. Wow. That I initially charged them. Nice. And, it's been 3 years, you know what I mean? And so that's the thing, like, you don't need a million clients, you need the right ones that will continue to buy over and over. And if you're providing a program or coaching or whatever that is really going to get them results, they'll keep buying over and over. And they will be those people that, will seriously make 99% of your revenue. It's nuts.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that part about, you don't need everybody. Like, there's a lot of people that don't like me, and I don't care.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You either attract or repel. And, listen, I show up, and I don't know if you know this yet. Well, I'm weird, so we're there at least. But I am a very strange gal. I joke that I work in a business mold every day, which is like professional on top, jammies on bottom. Like, I show people my pajamas all day long. I say very strange things. I yell at people. Like, I'm weird, right? I also am a Christian, and I say that in my business. And, when I came into my business, I had to make that decision. Do I want people to know that? Yes or no? And I said, you know what? Yeah. And I have had people, reach out to me and say, hey, Jenna, I see that you're a Christian. Are you teaching that? And I say, no, but I'm going to be honest. If you talk to me for more than 5 minutes, you're going to know that, I make my decisions in my business based on my faith. And I've had so many people say, cool, I'm not down with that. Like, I'm not the same religion as you. However, I love that you're willing to just do what you want to do. And so because of that, you're my coach. Right. You know what I mean? But I kind of love that I'm going to either repel you or attract you, because look, I don't want to waste my time coaching people or trying to, get people to believe me. I want people who are breathing life into me, not sucking the life out of me. And what's beautiful is that if you're working with your ideal clients, it's energizing, exciting. Like, I literally today had a client where I helped her unpack her coaching program that she had in her brain, like jumbled like a disaster, right? And put it on paper. And it was just like the most exciting conversation ever. We were both so amped and so excited, And it's like, those are the things you could do all day and never even get paid and be excited about. That's what it means to work in your zone of genius. And so that's what we want for everybody, right? Is to figure out, like, what is it that would make you that excited to coach people? But again, a lot of my clients are raving fans, but I can tell you there are also a lot of haters. They're like, oh, that girl who wears pajama pants, and it's not for them. And that's okay, because you're not for me. Right, love ya. Right.
Yeah. I hate on the pajama pants for some reason. I don't understand it.
Yeah. No, but see, I mean, and that's what's cool about you too. I love that, that you're very upfront about your past experiences, right? Because people can resonate with that. And I think that's super important because, there may be a lot of people who think like, oh, if I have a past, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And you're perfect proof that, oh no, you actually can, So I actually hate's a strong word, but I dislike when coaches portray that they're perfect. And that's why, even though I teach systems and repeatable processes, I will show you a picture of my laundry sitting on my dining room table for 3 weeks, because that's the truth of my life. So I'm okay with repelling people.
Yeah. Well, like you said, there's clients for everybody, right? And me personally, you said it perfect. You don't like when coaches or consultants, like, they portray like they have this perfect life. I say it here all the time. These gurus that like fly jets and like they 50 cars and like that doesn't really appeal to me. I don't like me personally, and there's gonna be people that like that, and there's gonna be people like me who are like turned off by that stuff. I'd rather have a realistic. I'd rather have somebody like you, somebody who's real, who's down to earth.
Yeah, or somebody who has like a Pikachu hanging out.
Yeah, he's my only friend. He's like,
right.
I put it out there like, look, I'm insane. I talk to a stuffed animal. So it is what it is, right? So before I open this up for Q&A, do you have anything else to say to the infamous mob here? That's what I call them. Do you have anything else to say to the infamous mob here?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is like, if you have something, if you're doubting, like, should I actually build a course? Should I actually build a coaching program? I think the biggest thing to just recognize is that somebody could be sitting there right now, desperately needing what you have to offer. Like I said, I helped someone who wanted to do an event literally make a to-do list of all the things she needed to do up to the event. And I got off the call thinking, oh my gosh, I cannot believe someone just paid me for that. Feeling really guilty. And again, she wrote back and said that was the best money I ever spent. And it's just such proof that, like, even though we think it's so simple to us and that no way would someone pay me for this, I can guarantee you someone does not have that skill you do. Right? Someone needs you to teach them to do it. And so I think you need to get out of your own way and say, if I don't do this, I'm harming someone because they actually need it, right? Instead of like, oh, I'm not good enough and no one would, want to work with me. It's not the case, so you always know something that someone doesn't. And again, the amount of money people will pay you to get that out of your brain is glorious because you have life experience that they do not have. You know what I mean? And people are willing to pay for it. So I think the biggest thing is, if you want to do it, do it. Right? What do you think like the biggest pain point is of your clients when it comes to writing their course or creating their program? Like, where are they getting stuck? Or if anybody's online watching, like, where are you guys getting stuck?
I think you touched on it just a little bit with my personal experience. The number one pain point I've seen is people have all these wild ideas. They have an idea of who they want to target, who they want to talk to. But when it comes to selling, the word selling scares the pants off of people. Like, they're just like, but I don't, they end up coaching people for free or for like $1.50.
No.
Like, what are you doing? Like, you have something very valuable. It's they're afraid to ask for the sale. They're afraid to ask for what they're worth. So what do you have to say? The
course is created. The program is like pretty much created. It's now
want to coach somebody one-on-one. They'll end up, and I've had this. I've had a client the other day who said she's coaching 10 people for free.
Oh, no. No. Okay. You want to know the easiest way to not be a salesy weirdo? Don't be a salesy weirdo. Don't sell to people, serve them. So the philosophy that I use in order to teach my audience on selling is to be service first. And so if you show up in your Facebook group, in an email, in a complimentary coaching call, in a whatever, and you serve the shit out of them, right? They will buy from you on accident, right? So, I teach a lot of people in network marketing, and again, I teach a lot on customer retention because, believe me, they're where your money is. And so many people are like, I don't want to call my customers because I'm afraid I'm going to be a salesy weirdo. I'm like, cool, don't sell them anything. Just call them and serve them and see how they're doing and see how you can connect with them and make sure that they're using the products they already purchased from you. And just simply changing up your intention to say, okay, the objective of this call or this outreach is to check in and serve them, not to sell, makes you not feel yucky about what you're doing. And it gives you a completely different like posture as you're doing it. And people feel that, right? If you have this feeling of like, you know, I don't want to call them because I don't want to bug them, then you are bugging them. You know what I mean? But if you call and say, you know what, mentally, I'm calling to serve this person, they get to decide if they want to take me up on it or not. But my job is to make the offer. You're great. I can tell you a funny story. So I decided on Tuesday, that I was going to do a flash sale. I never discount anything, believe me. I'm like literally never discount any coaching because I'm so against it. And I feel like we are deserved our value, right? But anyways, I randomly was like, shoot, I'm just going to do this thing. Okay. So I decided in my brain, I'm going to offer 4 coaching spots for an accelerated like private coaching thing where they get 4 calls. And I decided to offer it for $1,200, which is significantly less than typical, right? And so I put a Facebook post up in my group and said, hey, I'm going to offer this really cool special. Come to my call on Friday. I'm going to announce it. Before I could even announce it on Friday, 4 spots were sold. And I was like, what the heck is this? Right? And it just cracked me up because I was like, oh my gosh, you literally just have to put it out there and make an offer and people will buy it. And in fact, I didn't even really make the offer publicly. I just said, hey, I'm going to do this super crazy thing I never do. And people messaged me and were like, I'm not waiting. What is it? I need the spot. Yeah. Before I could even announce the price, people were saying sold, I want that spot, right? And so it's so much easier to sell than you think it is, especially when you have a reputation for serving. And you know, when you show up and serve your customers all the time, they want to get in on what you're going to offer, right? And I'll tell you, 99% of my sales go to repeat customers. I don't even try to find new customers anymore because I have enough volume coming in month over month with people that are like, ooh, what are you selling now? I want in on that, right? Because I show up and deliver results. Exactly. But I will tell you, if you do not make an offer, you will have $0. Right? Or if you accidentally offer like I did, you will have many dollars. It's your choice, right? So absolutely stop selling for free. Or excuse me, stop coaching for free. Right? The way that I do it is I do a complimentary coaching every week on my business page. I show up for, 15 minutes or whatever. I do a, complimentary coaching. I bring them into my Facebook group. I serve them there, and then I make an offer. Right. And I am so unattached from the result. I could give a shizzle if you say yes or no, because if I'm attached to the result, I'm going to fail every day because I can't control what you say. I can only control me. Right. And so I can control if I'm making an offer or not. Right. And so my definition of success is, did you make the offer? Yes or no? Not did they say yes or no, right? And as long as I made the offer, I'm a winner. And if I do the behaviors that I know will bring results later, then it's guaranteed. And the behaviors that we know get sales are making sales offers. Right.
It's like the karate school philosophy I like to use. You go into a karate school and the karate master there tells you, I'll give you a few lessons for free, and you learn a few moves. You learn a few moves. You're not like a karate king. You can't beat up like Bruce Lee or something, but you know a few moves, and he teaches you a few things. Your mind is already invested. You're already like, man, he already taught me a few moves. I feel more flexible. I feel good. I wonder how much more valuable it would be if I paid. It's simple stuff, but people miss it.
Yeah, one of the strategies that I used when I started my business was that I offered a complimentary coaching call to start. And so I said, okay, what we're going to do in this call is we're going to talk a little bit about where you are, where you want to be, and what obstacles are keeping you from getting there. Then, based on your answers, I'm going to give you a little plan. I'm going to do some coaching so you have a plan to walk away with that you can keep. If at the end of the call, if it feels right, I may ask if you'd like to learn more about working with me. If not, that's okay too. So that straight up, they know they're getting free coaching. And if it feels like we're a good fit, I might make an offer, right? And then at the end of it, I've given them so much value. I've created a plan of what they can do on their own without me. Or they realize, ooh, that sounds like an amazing plan, but no, I actually need more of that. And then they move into working with you as a coach, right? And I, my goal when I started my business was to have 10 full-time clients using that strategy. I filled up my private coaching first. Again, I realized, oh, there's a common problem all my people are having. Took that, turned it into my program, my coaching program. That was group coaching, and then it took off, right? But I will tell you that is the strategy that I teach my clients, rinse and repeat. Do your private coaching first, identify what's the problem everybody, is having that you can solve, then put that into a program or course.
That's it.
Rinse, repeat. But that would be the only complimentary coaching I would recommend.
Yeah.
Everybody else need to charge.
Listening. You don't have to come up with your business in a vacuum. I always say, like, your customers will come up with your business for you. So
100%.
I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor for questions. I see there is now 8 people on here. You missed the beginning. Shame on you. You weren't here in the beginning.
So tough on them. Jeez.
So I'm going to open the floor for questions. Please do not hesitate. Don't be scared. Don't wait till later and then come ask me. It's like, she's here. Jenna's here. She's sharing her time with us. And I see one question, I think. Let me see here.
Yeah, if you're offering coaching, would you recommend to offer just coaching alone or always have an actual digital course to go along with it? Not having something digital to present to someone to feel more legit has been my biggest struggle. So I personally, right, when I help my clients design their course, I always have them do a course that goes with it. That didn't make sense. When I'm having them create their coaching program, I have them build a course that goes with it. And so, for example, I have like a 16-week coaching program on finding your ideal clients and getting them buying for life, right? What I do in order to create the course is I put all of the content and videos and week to week, like homework stuff on a digital platform. I say, watch that. And then I'm going to come coach on it live in my call with you guys, right? In my group coaching program. And the reason I do that is because they're going to get so much more value out of it. And then I don't have to spend that hour of coaching time teaching them what they could have watched in a video, right? So what happens when you do that is you're basically doubling the value you give them versus just showing up live and coaching them there, right? I will also say, I've been in other coaching programs and I'm just like, oh, goodness gracious. People need step-by-step instructions. Right? I was actually just helping a client the other day create her tech program. And I watched a couple of her videos and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. All she was doing was like verbally saying what she was doing. There was no, okay, guys, first step, put your cursor here. You're going to type this. The next step is you're going to do this, right? And that should be accompanied by a document or some sort of manual that walks them through that mirrors what you're coaching. So what I typically recommend as you're building out your course or your coaching program is we start with an outline of what you think is going to be like the main things, and then specifically write out those modules or those documents that are going to go with your videos. And then you basically use that as your format for recording your digital videos. And then you drive them to the course and then you do your coaching with it. So that would be kind of my recommendation for like a group coaching program. Especially if you want to just do one that's on demand, right? You have to have some sort of learning platform for that. But if you're just doing like private coaching, then no, I don't think you need to have a digital thing go with it. So, with my private clients, we just get on a Zoom, I share a Google Doc with them. We're brainstorming on the same piece of paper. We build out their course and then they walk away with it. So yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, Christy, I answered your question, but I don't. So if you're offering coaching, would you recommend? It just depends. What kind of coaching is it, Christy? But I think it just depends. I don't think you have to have it. I think it's a nice to have. I always do personally, because I just think it's easier.
So the system that I teach, and I totally agree with you. Just to be clear, what I recommend, and I'm going to echo what you said because it's the same thing, is you don't build anything until you get clients. And once your clients are in, you start building the course around them. Like you said,
Yes.
week 1, week 2, week 3. And that's the best way to get feedback and to eventually have the perfect course, because it's not going to be perfect because you're in a vacuum. You're
Yes.
thinking to yourself, if you have a course first and then try to bring clients to it, you're going to end up rebuilding it anyway, because there's
100%.
no way to figure out what they really want unless they're in there actually taking the course.
Yeah. The first course that I ever launched, I ran it for 6 weeks. I packed everything I knew into one course, overwhelmed the crap out of everybody, apologized at the end and said, I'm going to let you do my second course for free because that was a shit show. And I basically took my 6-week course is now a year-long evergreen course and a 16-week coaching program. I tried to pack that into 6 weeks because I thought my clients were my speed and my craziness, and they were not, right? But had I not wasted my time doing that, right? And again, I missed out on over $10,000. That's a mistake, a $10,000 mistake that they would have paid for my second program, but I felt bad. So I just was like, sure, here you go, right? But I absolutely believe, if you just say, this is what I'm selling you, and, in order to sell your course first without writing it, you at least need to have your format and your outline. And then, you can build it as you go and then fill those videos in, right? And say, okay, yeah, this worked, or, ooh, that one was horrible. Don't coach on that again, right? And then you revamp it. So, my 16-week coaching program that I've run here for, 3 years now, I redid the whole thing in January because my clientele had evolved. You know what I mean? So it's always going to happen. But if you listen to the voice of your customer and your client, they will guide you where to go. Otherwise, you are just wasting your time. But yes, digital stuff, I think definitely is a very nice support. But again, usually what I will suggest for my clients is that they run their first program as a cohort style, meaning there's a start date and an end date, and they bring people into that one thing, and then they go through it together. And then if they want to go evergreen after that, then that's fine, because then they have all the, the actual good information to build the course. But otherwise, I wouldn't.
We do have another question here from Ryan. He says, would you recommend, if you're doing group coaching, to pre-sell for a certain period of time and then put them into a Facebook group where you share your screen and live streams, and put them in the unit sections and then weekly Q&A as well?
So if we're doing a group to pre-sell for a certain period of time, put them in a Facebook group where you share your screen. So I'm not sure if this is going to answer the question, but I sell out of my Facebook group. So I have a business page that I go live on every week, and I'm providing value only. I never sell on my business page. What I do though during my my live coaching calls is I say, oh, if you want access to this document or this cheat sheet or this whatever, go ahead and grab it. That is in my Facebook group. You have to come into my Facebook group to get the thing, right? In the Facebook group, that's where it's really community based, and we're doing a lot of stuff. So I show up for live coaching. I give everything for free. I do a lot of stuff, right? From there, I will sell them. So I will do a master class where it has an offer, or I'll apparently do a crazy flash sale that, sells crazy, whatever. And so, for there, I do come in weekly. Now, once I move them into my course, the way that I do my course is my evergreen one. You do all the coaching online at your own pace. You go through my digital platform and you do it at your own pace. And then I show up for weekly coaching calls at the same time, same date every week. And that's where we troubleshoot, right? So then I just come in and I'll share my screen, right? Joelle, you're in one of those same things, right? Where you bought my product, you went through my course to learn it. And then if you've got questions, you hop on with me and I'm going to coach you on the spot, right? And that to me is such a big piece of retention. If your people are not using the product, services, course, whatever it is that you sold them, they're not going to get results. they're never going to buy from you again. And they're certainly not going to tell their friends and family, right? Which is what we want. We want them to sell it for you. And so I believe very strongly if you show up in your group where, let's say if you're running your course through a Facebook group, right? If you show up and you give them that engagement, you answer those questions, you do all those things live, it's going to be really good. I personally don't like running my coaching in the units of Facebook groups. When I ran Group Track, which is our CRM that kind of tracks what you're doing in your Facebook group, I initially launched it with all of our coaching in the Facebook group, and I did not like it, and I think it just got messy. And so I immediately was like, ooh, I don't like that, and ended up putting it in an online learning platform. So for years, I've used Thinkific. I recently moved over to Kartra, which I'm loving, and I'm going to eventually move everything over there. But I do think you certainly can do, coaching in the Facebook units and use that as your free platform if you're just starting out. But I would think as you start to become more, professional in the business, you would want to use some sort of online platform to teach your people. And then you could show up live in the Facebook to deliver the coaching. Hopefully I answered your question.
Yeah, that was pretty in-depth. What are your thoughts on the 5-day challenge of value inside your group with an offer of a program at the end? I've seen a few people doing this as well.
I think that's a really good idea. One time I did a 10-day challenge, and I think I sold it for like $20 and made a shit ton because it was like so simple, so cheap, right? So that was amazing. And what it did was it gave me access to a lot of people that I wouldn't have served prior, right? Number one, the price point was much lower, right? So it opened it up to a different group of people. The only thing I would say that is when you lower your price like that, you may not be getting your ideal client, right? I think people that are willing to invest in your coaching and your services, if your price is higher, they're going to get better results. Personally, that's kind of my feeling around that. But I do think it is a really great way to get some traction and to show people what you're made of and demonstrate that you can get them quick wins, right? So if you're going to do a challenge, I would come guns a-blazing. I would give them the best of you, but I would also not overwhelm them, because that was the other lesson I learned was, again, Jenna's crazy. I over deliver. I go way too fast. And so my rule of thumb is build out what you think you're going to coach and then 50% it, and then maybe 50% that. So like 25% of the content. But the goal of what you're doing in a masterclass, in a challenge, in a whatever, is to give them enough value, solve a problem, create a new problem that only you can solve if they buy your coaching. That's the key. You have to create a new problem. So yeah.
I think I say this all the time, and it probably gets annoying to people because they want like definitive. And the thing is, people want like definitive answers for everything. It's like, will this work? Will that work? And I say this all the time. I say there's a million ways to make $1 million. And at the end of the day, if you want to try something, test it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's really the only way you're ever going to learn what works for you and what doesn't. Like, even if I have a system, even if I have a system and I impart it on you and say, use my system, this is what works for me. Maybe you don't want to do it that way. Maybe you want to pull from Frank Kern or somebody else and do some other things. By all means, go ahead. I'm not going to tell you like that one doesn't work. It works for him. It's like, there's, like I said, there's a million ways to make $1 million. So yeah, everything works. It's just a matter.
But our way's the best.
Yeah, everything works.
Everything works, but ours is the best.
Yeah, so just listen to me and shut up.
Exactly.
But everything works. The thing is, people get so invested in the idea of trying a million different things, and it's like, I'm going to combine 85. The thing is, you're one person, and especially if you're doing all organic and not running ads, you need to be realistic with your time. That's the main thing, is I try to control my clients' time and say, how much time do you have? Block all that other stuff out, because you're doing 50 million things. And you've got to concentrate. You have to focus on what gets you the most results today, right now.
100%. And that's customer retention.
So, yeah. It's not a popular answer. Of course, I get brush back from it. But I'm just trying to be honest, is you have to be realistic with your time and pick one horse and ride it. Don't try to do 50 things at the same time. They all work, but
Yeah. And I think it's rinse and repeat is the key, right? I think that's the biggest thing is like when you're doing whatever it is that you're going to do, whatever system is, write it down and repeat it. Don't be thinking like if you are recreating the wheel or implementing new things and doing like, if there's no consistency in your actions, you're not going to be able to figure out where the disconnect is, right? And so that's everything I teach is systems and process flows. And it's like, look, do it once, get it on a document, repeat it over and over and over. And then you're going to be able to see like, ooh, that's what's not working, right? But if you just try new stuff all the time, you will never know where is the problem.
Love it. Love it. Is there any more questions? Because I haven't seen a question come. Please. Because I know what's going to happen. Because if you don't ask questions now, and then you ask me a question you would have asked Jenna, and you ask me, it's like, what? You were there live. I saw you. Please.
Yeah, no worries. And like I said, if anybody wants to leave comments, if they're catching the replay later, they're welcome to. I'm happy to answer. They can tag me. So yeah, totally happy to help where I can. So
you're so lucky she's nice because I'm not.
I know, I'm like, damn, you're so tough.
I'm a meanie sometimes.
That's all right.
But no, but that's cool. I appreciate that. I really appreciate it because yeah, I brought you on and I was hoping and praying. I asked you, and it was one of those things where it was like, I hope she says yes. But
yeah. Oh my gosh.
Like, yeah. I thought you were joking at first. I was like, really?
Oh, no, I'm so happy to. I believe that so many people have things in their brains that need to be taught to other people and just don't have the confidence to realize like, no, someone actually really needs what I have. And so, anytime I can encourage people or support them and help them to like get the mess out of their brain and get it into an organized, systemized, repeatable process that other people can do, I'm all for it. So totally happy to help your people.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Oh, I think I see a question. This is Teresa. Teresa's asking, do you suggest using someone else's digital product to start? That's a good
So
one.
meaning like you sell theirs?
I think she's referring to affiliate marketing.
Oh, affiliate marketing?
I started that.
Yeah, I mean, I think affiliate can be really good. If you don't feel like you know exactly what you want to sell or you're not really sure like what your program should look like or whatever, then yes, I definitely think, excuse me, affiliate marketing can be good. The only thing for me is that well, first of all, I have OCD. Second of all, I'm a control freak. Third of all, remember when I said I started my business because I wanted to be the boss of everyone? I still feel that way. And I feel like affiliate for me, it feels like I'm selling someone else's stuff. I feel like there's more accountability on me, more pressure on me to deliver and to serve when it's my own thing. And so, but I'm also crazy. You know what I mean? So I absolutely believe that for me, creating my own program was the way to go. But totally, I think affiliate marketing's, a really good place to start, maybe to at least get your feet wet with sales, if you're a little bit nervous about that. But again, if you're selling something that someone needs, not just something you made up, people will buy it. And why not keep the money for yourself? You know what I mean? Like, I coach a lot of people in network marketing, which I love network marketing. I think it's great. However, every time they sell money, it's for someone else. They get a portion of it. Every time I sell something, I get to keep it all. You know what I mean? I would like to keep it all. Yeah. So that's the only thing, right? And so really, I think if there's something in your brain that you think can get out that could really serve people, then why not see? And you don't have to start with a full out coaching program or course. You could do an online digital, course that they download that you don't even have to show up for live. I mean, seriously, I have a client who I'm helping create a coaching or like a tech program for. And the first video that she's releasing is how to use Gmail if you're an entrepreneur. Now, to some people, you're like, are you freaking kidding me? Who does not know how to use Gmail for business? Well, guess what? I didn't when I started my business. I would have paid for that program, right? She's going to be teaching people in her little baby course how to, Use her Google Calendar and connect it with Calendly so that you don't have to be scheduling appointments all the time. Now, to some people, that might seem ridiculous. To other people, you're like, ooh, what's that? Can I get the link? Right? And if she's selling it for 20 bucks, she's going to sell a ton of them. Right? And as she continues to serve, she's going to start to realize, oh my gosh, there's this other problem, and then it's going to keep going and keep going and keep going. So I wouldn't discount what's in your brain. What seems very easy to you may be very, very difficult to someone else, and they would be willing to pay for you to figure it out for them and not have to spend the time doing it. So
you brought up a really, really good point right there. I like what you just said, because I get that feedback all the time. When I was in affiliate marketing, I built a 6-figure business for my mentor, who built a 7-figure business off my work. So that's another reason why I got out of it. You're totally right. You want to keep 100% of all your work. I mean, it's crazy. But you brought up a really, really good point as far as people can get, it's the Google, information age, YouTube. People can get information for free. Somebody could have found out about the Gmail for business.
Yes.
So people used to come to me and get on calls with me and say, well, can I figure out affiliate marketing for free on my own when I was coaching affiliate marketing? I'm like, yeah, you can technically. It's all out there. You can just Google it. It's the thing is, what you're paying for is not just information. It's the same thing as I could tell you, well, you can go into the woods and you can chop down a bunch of trees. You can chop those trees up into logs. You can chop them up into smaller pieces of wood, and then you can grind them up into sawdust and then curate them and turn them into paper, basically, right? You can do all that. You can do all that, but wouldn't it be much simpler to just go to the grocery store and buy some toilet paper? So
yeah. Well, and it's so funny because inside of my Facebook group, that's like my public group where I prospect people from, if you spent the time, you could go through my group and watch every video I've ever posted, and you would have my entire coaching program for free.
Right.
But you don't want to. You want for me to say, hey, today we're going to go over this. Here's your homework, right? And to have someone to be able to troubleshoot with you and to really work with you to get the implementation done. And that's where it's just hard. Like we just want, like I still have a business coach, right? Like you can always use guidance. You can always use help. And yes, literally, she has sold so much of this, how to use Gmail and Google Calendar. It's like ridiculous. You could find it for free online. For free. You know what I mean? So don't discount what you can offer the world because people really may need it. I mean, there's people who teach you how to breathe, literally making millions of dollars. So, there was one other question that came up, which what was the best software to create an online course? So first of all, I would say that's my least concern. I'm like, get the content out of your head onto a Google Doc. Like, don't even worry about that until you've got it written. Then go sell it, then worry about it. However, I will jump ahead and tell you. I mean, even if you put it in a Facebook group, that's better than not done. That's better than sitting in your brain. However, Thinkific is a good option. It's very simple. You can use it for free if it's public, but if you want to only allow people to get onto your page if they've paid for it, then you do have to pay for it. I pay for like the pro account, or I used to, no, I still do actually. And I think it's like $99. I don't know, something like that. I am now moving over to putting my course on Kartra because it's way better. Comes with landing pages, all that stuff. And I really like it. So my new recommendation would be Kartra. I would just skip Thinkific altogether. It's going to save me a lot of money actually by canceling Thinkific. Teachable is another one that a lot of people use. I don't know much about it. Same with Kajabi is another one that I hear of a lot. But literally even a piece of paper would be better than in your brain.
Yeah.
So don't worry about the tech. Build it first. Like get it out of your brain, barf it onto a piece of paper, organize it in a systemized way that someone can implement and get results, and then worry about it.
I've seen courses, now this was a cheap course, but still, I've seen courses where people will upload videos to YouTube, set the videos on private, and then just give you the links.
Yeah.
And that's the course. You're just getting a playlist. It's the private playlist.
Yep.
People care? No. At the end of the day, your clients only care about the results they get. They don't care how your product is delivered. They don't give two craps.
100%. You could even take a Google Doc. You could do like Zoom links, or not Zoom, Loom. Do you guys know what Loom is?
Oh, yeah, lovely.
Loom, right? So you could record yourself with Loom, which is a free extension, and then put your course together on a Google Doc and just put the link to each video as they go. So your entire course could be on a Google document. Amazing. So easy.
Love it. I use WordPress, super affordable. That's a good one too. Canvas. Good one too. Any more questions? Please let the questions fly. Do not be nervous. Do not be scared. There are no stupid questions whatsoever, except why is Pikachu here? That's a stupid question. You know he's the man, that's why.
That's amazing. Awesome. Well, thank you for having me here. I definitely appreciate the questions. Like I said, if you guys have more, you're welcome to drop them in the comments. I'll just tag me and I can come back and answer some stuff later too.
Well, we were very, very happy to have you. I really appreciate it again. And thank you so much for answering all the questions and giving us your time, because I know you're really, really busy and you have a lot of things going on. So that was really awesome of you. And you can come back anytime at all.
Awesome.
So again, really appreciate it. And I don't see any more questions, so I'll let you go. Stop bothering you all the time. And
All good.
love everything you're doing. And you have a good night. And you guys too in the infamous mob, you guys have a great night. I'm going to shut this down. All right.
All right. See you guys. Thanks so much.
Bye.